Hello, someone is here. I don't know if you can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me. Just type something, maybe like the live or type I can hear you so that I know you're with me and can hear my voice. Hello, can you hear me? Please let me make sure that you can hear me. Help me know that you can hear me. The live I've started. Help me know that you can hear me, please. Hello, if you're here, help me know that you can hear me. I can hear you. Daddy Milo Kokode. Can you see me too? Thank you, sir. Somebody joined on the other link too. For me, Monkoto Shell, I couldn't come live then. It was showing like a video. It was not showing me live like this. So I have to cancel that. Please let me know if you can see me. Can you see me? I definitely cannot see you, but we can make do with that while we wait for other people to join. Thank you. I'm waiting for other people to come. Nobody has come. Okay. Let's give people some more time to come. Okay, thank you, sir. You can see me clearly. Okay. Can just give some people more time to come. After like few minutes, I'll start. Thank you. Ẹnìkan send message ní WhatsApp wọ́n send pé link yẹn ò ṣiṣẹ́ fún òun. So I have replied to her. I hope that it works for her this time. We want to talk about sex education as a form of child protection. Oh no. I like it like that. Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. Where are my people? Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that I spent time preparing this to educate people and nobody is here. Wow. And it's free. Tó yẹ kó mo wá fẹ́ gbowó ńkọ́? Oh my God. Lórí òkè ní pẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ lórílẹ̀ àti òkun. Hello, our time is fast spent and I'm not seeing people here. Okay, I'm just gonna wait 2 more minutes for 6:15 and then we will start. One more minute to start. One more minute and we start. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome. Um okay, I'm just going to go to the setting and change that before I go. Or maybe not. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Kudirat Tajuddin Fuster. I'm a parent coach and I'm the founder of Parenting&More, where I encourage and support parent efforts to nurture, protect, and love their kids into greatness. Now, today we want to talk about sex education as a form of child protection. Okay, recently I shared on my social media about how Disney is introducing the Disney Plus, which is to push the LGBTQ agenda onto kids, to slowly introduce it to them and, get them exposed to it, get them orientated into that agenda. Now, I wonder why kids have anything to do with adults' sexual preferences. For goodness sake, we should leave them alone and let them grow up to choose whatever they want at that time, right? Now, this is not only about Disney. all other materials and the TV shows, the books, the cartoons, all of those, the books that the kids are get exposing to are laden with this stuff. So this makes me say a lot that parenting has become a war, because you see those people pushing this agenda, they are very resourceful, they are very intentional and strategic. Okay, it's just you don't have a choice but to educate your own children yourself, because if you don't, they're going to learn it somehow else. So you have the choice to either do it your way, to teach your children what you want them to know, or you let society teach them for you. And of course, you know what the society is going to teach them. Most likely going to be things you don't like we already seen. And even if you're teaching your kids what you want them to learn, and you are not protecting them from those other people that want to impose those things you don't want on your kids, you're still gonna fail. So not being intentional, not being strategic in your parenting, in your sex education, in protecting your children is wrong. You will fail. Okay? We all have parenting goals. Even if we are not aware of it, or we don't know the fact that we have parenting goals, right? All right. That in fact might be different from, my parenting goal might be different from yours. Okay, everyone will have different parenting goals, but we do have them. Some of us are intentional about our parenting goals. We know them, we write them down to guide us in how we parent. So if you don't have the goal right now, I implore you to please write down your goals. How do you see your child in the next 10, 15 years? Who do you hope your children grow up to be? Okay, whatever your parenting goals are, we are all working hard and hoping that we achieve these goals. Whether you know your goals or not, you are hoping that your children turns out to be successful, right? You are hoping that you attain success in your parenting, and ultimately that our kids succeed academically, financially, morally, sexually, health-wise, religiously, socially, emotionally. We want our children to succeed. That is in itself a goal. All right, it's in itself the vision, but then you need to break it down. How do you intend to achieve this goal? We all want the best for our kids. That in itself is a goal, but then you have to break it down. How do I achieve this? That is where intentionality comes in, and strategy building. You need to have a strategy in place to achieve that, else you're gonna fail. The way we were parented is different from this time. So if you're parenting in this age and you do not have a strategy, you do not have a plan, your goal is not even clear to you, the parents, I'm sorry, you're going to fail. That is not the way to go about it anymore. Please, if you're hearing me, let me know you can hear me. All right? We want to raise children that we'll be proud of. However, in the light of the recent happenings, like I've mentioned before, okay, we have pedophiles all around. We have people sexually abusing our kids. We have all of this media content trying to just brainwash our kids, right? They want to mess up with their brain. And when our minds are messed up, our whole lives is messed up. I hope you know that. We are who our mind is. Thank you. You can hear me properly. I appreciate that. We are what we think. We are what we believe. We are what our values are. It starts with the mind. So you have to intentionally and strategically parent your kids' mind, directing their mind to where you want it to be. You would agree with me. That is why those people are bringing this content to kids too, because they know that children, what they see, what they hear, reprograms their brain. Yes, the brain actually physically changes to adapt to this. And when children brain changes into a direction, it is difficult to actually correct it. And that is why we need this. We need to educate them from very young. That is not to say that if your children are older, it is not possible. It's just going to make you're going to put a lot more effort into bringing them back, into correction. You're going to be doing salvaging this time. So you're going to have to do a lot more hard work. But if you have children that are so young, from say 10, 9, and downwards to 0, good. You can start teaching them exactly what you want. Now, bear in mind that these other people that we are saying are perpetrating this evil on our kids, that is the predators, the pedophiles, the LGBTQ plus, that they are trying to push this onto our kids, right? They are very resourceful, and they are going to spend all their resources to ensure they achieve their goals. They have goals, just like you have. They are clear about their goals. They are very strategic about their goals. So you do not have a choice but to be intentional and strategic too, if you must win and be successful as a parent. So being intentional, being having a strategy to your parenting is no longer a choice. It's no longer okay, whatever, we parent anyhow. My parents didn't do any parenting course and I turned out fine, or whatever thing. The time and age is different. The time we are now is different. Back in those days when we were growing up, when we were kids, when our parents were doing their best for us, there was no social media, there was no phone, there was no computer, there was no internet. We do not have access to those things, even if they exist, right? We do not have access to them as children, like the children of nowadays have access to them. So that is to tell you that times are changing, and we as parents have to change with it if we want to be successful. Are you following me? Please let me know you're following me, right? So to win this war, we have to be intentional and strategic. That is no longer an option, right? Like we have said. We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared and equip ourselves to win this war for the sake of our children's future. We have to double down. Okay? That's why I always say parenting has become a war, and being intentional and strategic is no longer a choice. I swear it's no longer a choice. You have to make up your mind to do this with everything you've got. All right? Unless you want your child to turn out anyhow, you don't care, which I know that's not the case for you, at least for the people in my corner, right? Okay, so how exactly do we sex educate our children? All right, how do we do that? How do we do that? It is to educate them, right? How do we sex educate children? A little part of building what we want to talk about today. Okay, sex education as a form of child protection, as building skills for them to boost their confidence, okay, and peace of mind for the for the parents. So if you sex educate your children, you're going to have peace of mind, of course, that you know that yeah, they know what they're doing. You know that they know what they're doing. All right. So sex education is the provision of information about body development, about sex, about sexuality and relationships, along with skills building to help young people and children communicate about sex and make informed decision regarding sex and sexual health. So, sex education is not just about the act of sex itself. So, yes, when we talk about sex education, it doesn't mean that you call your child and then telling them how to have sex. That is not what we're talking about when we say sex education, right? Sex education is providing information to children and young people about their bodily development, how their body is developing, right? About sex, about sexuality, all right, and relationship, along with skills building. So if you give them this information without giving them skills building, without building their skills on what to do, then you're not doing it right. So these are the things we want to learn here today, right? So let me rush along. So I need you to understand that sexuality and or sex education is beyond just sex itself, right? Like I mentioned, it is about how your child feels about their developing body. It is about making healthy decisions and choices about their body, right? And understand and express their intimacy, attraction, and affection for others. They need to be able to express it and understand what that is. Okay? Because if they don't understand it, if you're not giving them enough information to understand how their body feels, they're going to misbehave. Like that story that I just shared with you yesterday. That young girl, 10 years old, does not have any information, does not have any sex education to make informed decision about how her body is feeling towards this uncle that she was getting attracted to. So having a crush is normal. Okay, that brings me to that. I wanted to talk to you about it in the end, but yes, let me just mention it here, right? We need to teach children that having a crush is normal, but of course, age appropriately. When we get to the age by age, we're going to understand that more better, right? It is normal, it is even expected that a child is going to, at some point in their life, have crush on other people, opposite sex, hopefully, if you have done your work well. All right. I would not want my children to be crushing on same sex, for instance, right? Okay, but crushes or crushing on someone is normal. It's normal part of life. Even us as adults are still crushing on people, have developing feelings for somebody that you think or you know that it can be attainable, right? So you should let your children know that this feeling are the same and they should not be embarrassed about it. See, when they are shamed for it, when they feel embarrassed about it, that is when they try to hide it and react negatively to it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So in this girl's instance, for example, if she had been sex educated to know that crushes are normal, and when you have crush on someone, crush is just a feeling, like anger, like fear, like happy. It doesn't last forever. It comes and it goes. Something else will make you feel happy now, something else will make you feel happy next time. So you have a crush on Mr. or brother A today, you're going to have a crush on brother B next year or in the next 2 years. The only difference is the feeling of crush does it last longer than the other feelings that I've just mentioned. For example, you can be angry for brief minutes, hours, or few days, it will go, you will have something else to laugh about next time, right? But crush, especially if you're seeing that person you're crushing on daily, and especially if that person is nice to you or is crushing over you too, right? That prolongs the period of the crushing. Now, we need to teach children that crushing is normal. It comes and it will go away. And they will have opportunity to crush about somebody else later. So if they know this and they know that this is just momentary, this is temporary, that helps them make informed decision. And then you teach them what you would want them to do when they feel like that. Just like we teach children how to be hungry. Oh, all right, okay. I understand that it's not every parent that do that, but yes, as an intentional parent, you have to teach your children how to handle their emotions, how to handle anger. So when you're angry, you don't beat people, you don't talk to hurt people. Okay, so you don't hurt people when you're angry, you don't hurt things or destroy things. Then what do you do? It is not only about what you don't do. So in this case, the guardian is focusing on what the child should not do. Oh, don't go close to this. But then what should she do? So we have to equip children with this, and that is how they learn to make informed decision, because we will not always be with them. This should be at the back of our heads. All right, when we are educating children on anything, and particularly sex education, we will not always be with them when they go to school, when they go to friends' place, when they go to market, when we send them on errand or anything. Things can happen. We cannot always confide our children to us. So we need to think about when we are not there, what is going to be with them? What is going to be with them when we are not with them? The teachings you have given them, the skills you have helped them build. So if somebody says, I love you to your child, what do you want them to do in response? Teach them, say it, be direct. If some, I will teach my child, well, my children are 5 and less. If anybody say I love you, say thank you. I love me too. Period. They don't have to feel special about somebody saying I love you. And that is going to bring up, well, we're going to talk about that as we go along. Yes. So why do we do sexual education? Why is it important? It is important because it helps in teaching and learning about cognitive, emotional, physical, and social aspects of sexuality. It aims to equip children, like I said, equip, okay? It helps to equip children and young people with the knowledge, skills, attitude. Now, attitude is important, okay? And values that will empower them to realize their health, well being, and dignity as in relation to sexuality. Yes? It helps them to develop respectful social and sexual relationship, considering how their choices affect their own well-being and that of others. So it helps them make informed decisions about the situations. Okay, it also helps them understand and ensure the protection of their rights throughout their lives, from being a small child, even into adulthood, into parenthood, even, right, throughout their life, even into grandparenthood, if you will. All right, the education you give them now will help them make the right, protect their own rights throughout their lives. Sex education also helps people gain information and skills they need to make the best, okay, decision about it. Okay, so when we are doing sex education for the children, we need to bear this in mind. Now we are getting to the core of this sex education class. Okay, here is how to give your children sex education that is effective. All right, first you need to realize that you are the core of your kid's life. You are the core. You are the most important person. You are the most influential person in your children's life right now, at least when they are little, like my children, right? If your children are older, they might already be having some other more important people than you in their lives, and you have to correct that. One of our goals as parents should be to be the most important person in our child's life throughout their lives. Yes, throughout their lives. That way, your teachings stays with them permanently. All right. So you need to understand that it is you, your values, your teachings, the honest information you provide for them that makes all the difference. Okay, so you have to create a value system. Make your kids comfortable to come to you for reliable and honest information. When you get this part wrong, understanding that you are the core of your child's life, you get every other thing wrong. Every other thing. If they cannot come to you for reliable information, if they don't even see the value, if you're not showing them and role modeling the value you want to see in them, you're going to lose them. Please talk to me in the comment section. I like that. Keep that coming so that I know that I'm not talking to myself. Yes. If you agree with me, if you have comments, if you have questions, please be bringing it up so that I know that we are here together. Right? So, understanding that you are the core of your child's life, you're going to understand that later. I want to give you the lowdown and the summary of what it entails. So, understand that you are the core of your child's life. You have to create the system for them to follow suit, and we would talk about how to achieve that in a bit. So the second important thing is you have to start early. Start sex education early. Sex education is not when you think, I think this girl is about to be having boyfriend, or oh, this boy is already crushing on a girl. No, it is already getting too late when you wait for that time. You have to sex educate your child. Start sex educating them from the day they are born. Yes, I said that from the day they are born. You understand why I said that in a bit, because the affection you show your children, the way you relate with them, the environment you create for them are all going to contribute to sex education. That is why intentionality is important, even before you become a parent. All right. So you need to already put all of these things in place, be strategic about how you want to go about your parenting so that you can start from the day one. So start sex education early. Now you have to displace the myth about sex education. Yes, we have a lot of myths around sex education where we're going to displace them now, right? So you have to displace that and replace them with facts. With facts. Okay? We're going to look at the things that you should not do and not do. Okay? We're going to look at how environment affects your sexuality of your child and the sex education that they get. All right. We're going to be you have to be prepared and understand that your child sexual development, so you can respond to it effectively. You need to understand how your children is developing sexually, so you can continually give them the education in an age appropriate way. We're going to look at that. Okay. And then you give them age appropriate sex conversation. Now, all of this that we have been talking about is about other things that is not actual conversation. So there are ways you would sex educate your child without even talking with them, right? And then lastly, when the age is right, there is going to be sex conversations. Okay? And there is a way to do the sex conversation in different ages and appropriately, right? So you explain to kids at level that they are and that they can understand, and make sure that they have facts. Okay, so understanding yourself as the core of your child's life. Okay, these are the things you need to look out for. You need to know that you are the most important piece for a successful sex education. All right, if you start it early and if you have the right values in place. So you have to create a value system, and based on what are your values, and by what are your values, I mean, for example, are you that parent that believe that sex should be done after marriage, or you don't care, you think sex can be done at any time when they are already past teenage years, young adults, say 19, 20, 21, whatever. Okay, now you have become adult, you can do whatever you want. What is your value system? That you need to be aware of it, okay, and be true to it. Be true to it. If you're not the type of person that believes in virginity before marriage, don't propagate it, because it's not going to last forever. You're going to have your child confused. Okay, create value system, very important. Yes, thank you. Yes, you need to ask yourself, what is my value system around sex education? So if you don't believe in virginity to marriage, sexual purity, don't teach it to your child. Teach them what your value system is, because you cannot sustain what is not in your value. All right. So if you're teaching your child about say for instance, that is now paying attention to yourself as being the core of your child's life and the important piece of this sex education we're talking about. Okay, you've taught your teenage child that virginity, sexual purity, right? Or no sex until marriage and all of that. And maybe, the child is buying into that. But then again, you are on the phone talking to your friends and talking nonsense. Right? You're watching a movie, and then, people that are not married are doing that, and you don't find anything wrong with that. So you need to know what your value system is. So that will guide you and your child every step of the way. So if you're watching a movie that is there, you will use that as an opportunity to teach your child again that no, this is not how to go about it. And you can actually avoid exposing your child to those things that you don't want them to. So you don't teach sexual purity and then be on the phone with your child and complaining about a certain person that got married to this person without having sex before. They do not find out their sexual compatibility and all of those. For goodness sake, how are they going to find sexual compatibility before marriage? If we are saying that, No sex until marriage. So you need to, actually find your sex, your own value system, and be true to it. Give your children facts, not a painted saint of you. Be real, so that your children, because children will see through you. They know, they see through you, especially when they get to that age 10. You have been a child before, you know what I'm saying. All right. Like when I was a child, I think I was about 12 or 13. My mother would tell me that, don't go close to any boys. If you go to any boys and they touch you, you'll get pregnant. I know it's not true. I could see right through them. Now, that didn't help at all. So don't do that. That's going to be some of the myths we're going to talk about. Yes. So find your values and stay true to it. Children can say through you, know when you're lying, when you're not being factual, even if they don't have the facts, but they know when you're not being factual, and you will lose them. They will no longer trust you. And that is the end of that. If you lose your children trust, forget about it. They're going to find somebody else they can trust outside, even though that person doesn't have their best interest at heart. So you want to make sure that you maintain having your child's trust. Create a value system. Sex education can only be done effectively from home based on your value system. If you leave it to schools, the teachers will teach them based on their value system. So start early from the home, right? And then your relationship with your spouse. So if you have, okay, so we know that there is this expression of, oh, because you're married or because you have children should not mean that couples should not enjoy their sex life anymore and stuff. Yes, you can do all of that behind your closed doors in your room. Don't sexualize your house. Okay, now that is about you too. Okay, what's your relationship with your spouse? How did your children perceive your relationship with the spouse? As its real work as their guidelines? Yes, Kamal, thank you. You nailed it on the head. Okay, so how is your relationship with your spouse? How do you express sexuality? How do you express love? That it is important to role model it to your children. You see? So you cannot have children around the house that you are sex educating and then you're doing, oh, because we're married, we can do anyhow. No, you can show affection. Yes, you can hug, you can kiss. I don't mean French kisses, right? You can kiss lightly, say, how are you and everything. You're showing your children appropriate, acceptable way to show love and how you relate with your children too. So this brings us to value again. In my home, we kiss a lot. Is how we show affection. Hug and kisses on the cheeks, right? I know a friend that even the kisses on the cheeks is not acceptable in their home. It is okay. It is not because she is doing that, she's right than me, or I am right than her. It is all about value system. So, do you mind that your child goes out and meets a friend or something and they like each other, they hug and kiss on the cheeks? If that is okay with you, make it known. So, the way you relate with your spouse and with your children also affect the sex education. You cannot be telling your children, oh, the kiss on the cheeks is okay. And then again, you're, doing the actual kiss in front of your kids or wearing skimpy things when you have a 7 and above-year-old boy in the house. Mommies, no. Because they're your children does not mean that you can do that in front of them. You are educating them. Okay, you are destroying the education that you are giving them. All right. So another one is the involvement with your children. Okay, create healthy parent-child bond. For your sex education to be effective, the bond between you has to be strong enough that they trust you. They feel free to come to you with how they feel without them even knowing. You see, when you are doing strong facing, so the way you discipline your children also matter in sex education. If your children fear you all the time, you don't wait on the certain time that you now want to do sex education and say, you know what, you can come and tell me anything. It doesn't matter what you say. They are fearing you, Noni. There is nothing you can do about it. They are never coming to you. No, they are not. So discipline, the way you discipline them, the way you relate with them, The parent child bond you create also matters in effective and successful sex education. All right. Creating a value system in the home makes the kids feel comfortable to come to you for reliable and honest information. This cannot be overemphasized. The bond between child and parent, and the value you have created around the house. For a guide on how to create your value system, I have a guide for you for a fee. So if you're interested, you can let me know. I'll share with you the guide to create a value system that works for your family, that is unique for your family dynamics, because no children or no family is alike. Okay, so you have different values in your home. I have different values in my home. How to create the value system is the same, but of course the value system that you're going to create is different because it's going to be on based on your values. All right, and you have to get the other parents involved too. Right. So so what to do? Be intentional and strategic. Like I said, it is impossible to teach sex education in isolation without having solid structure in place. It's not going to work. You're just going to be blabbing. All of those other structures we have mentioned has to be in place because before a sex conversation happens, right? So you have to create a value system to help guide you and kids towards success at all times. You have to create a parenting and discipline strategies that helps you have honest and open communication. Okay? You don't want to lose your child trust trying to hide facts from them. They will find the truth elsewhere. They will find the truth elsewhere. If you are trying to sex educate your children and then you are telling them if a boy touch you, you're going to get pregnant, they will learn that you are lying and then you have lost them. Yes. So no lies. Okay. Focus on parenting their mindsets, not so much about what they are doing right now, right? But what they are doing give you indication of what is going on in their mind. Because, like I said it from the beginning of this video, when the mind is messed up, our whole life is messed up. Because we are what is in our mind. We say what is in our mind. We act what is in our mind. We walk what is in our mind. We see what is in our mind. All right. Because opportunities and crime, opportunities for success, opportunity for crime, opportunities for this will be all in front of you. You will only see the opportunity that is in your mind. You get the point. So you have to focus on parenting the child's mind. Their action gives you an indication of what is in their mind. So don't focus so much on that action. Work on how you can bring their mind back to what you desire. Am I making sense? Parenting is a course on its own. Yes, I agree with you. Kamara always gives your attention to express themselves. Yes, I don't care whether he or she wants to discuss with me. I always listen to them. Yes, whatever. Even the mundane things. My children are little, so they will call your attention for something very silly. You might feel like, is that why you're disturbing me? Don't make them feel like they're disturbing you. Even those things are silly. Show interest, like, oh yeah, really? Oh, that's nice. Oh, you did that. Let them know you're interested in what is happening with them. That's how they grow up to always know. When anything happen in outside, the first thing they are thinking of is, let me get home and tell my mom. Let me get home and tell my dad. And that's how you create a strong influence over them. And diminish, because they're going to be influenced by other things, right? We're going to come to that. Okay, anyway, so you want to focus on parenting their mindset. Okay, listen to them more than you talk, so that you can get to know what is in their mind. All right, that gives you the power to get into their mind and make a positive impact. Okay, my guide on how to be your child's greatest influencer will help you to achieve this easier. So yes, come and get the guide. I have a guide on how to be your child's greatest influencer. I think I'm even going to retitle it like how to be the most important person in your child's life. But anyway, I have that guide available and you want to get it. It's not expensive. Okay, you want to build your girl's LD self-esteem. See, Sh- Girls and boys, we like to say they are equal. They are not. They are, well, they are equal but different. They are very different. Boys usually have good self-esteem but lack confidence, if you know what I mean. Okay, that they lack the confidence and they lack self-control. So they usually want to lose their self-control to prove that they have the confidence to do anything they want to do. Are you getting the point? So you are going to have to build a healthy self-esteem for your child. And how to do that is by involving, you have to involve healthy male role model. See, girls and boys are wired differently. I'm not sure I understand. I know how to explain this very well to you to understand. Girls are moved, they are interested in what they hear, right? In what they hear. Girls are more likely to be gullible. Okay, so sweet talking them, they're emotion beings. Like, okay, now I know, now I figured out how to say it. Okay, girls run on their emotions than the boys. So to help your child build a self esteem is a strong, maybe the strongest tool and skill you can give your girl to protect them sexually. No matter how brilliant, how smart a girl seem, if she doesn't have the self-esteem, she's vulnerable. A vulnerable girl child is dangerous. Don't do that. Help them build their self-esteem. I can see people are here, but I don't know who they are except the people that are commenting. But if you are a single parent, you want to get maybe your father, your brother, a mentor, or something, a male figure in your girl child's life. Yes. Somebody that is invested and interested in them enough to work with you on your strategy to sex educate them. They need that male figure. Yes, you are loving them, you are showing them love. And yes, for the married ones to their father, of course, is the closest person, and the natural first love. So how their father showed them love and expresses and make them feel emotionally determines their success in the sex education you are giving them. So ensure that you get their father involved in this. Okay, you have to tell your children every morning how beautiful they are. You have to tell them all of those sweet things that boys used to use to corner girls' head. Every girl is vulnerable to that naturally from the young age. All right. So you want to get your child a male role model that models to them healthy connection, healthy love, that shows them that somebody can love you really well and not place your value on sex. Do you get what I mean? So, as a father, you want to show and tell your child how much you love them, how gorgeous they are, how special they are, how beautiful they look, how nice their hair is, how lovely the dress is on them, you know? And mothers and fathers bring that self esteem away from their body features. Let them know that whatever how their body is, they're lovely, they're gorgeous, they're lovable, and you love them to bits. It is okay to tell your children that nobody can love them like you do. When you start early, when they get into that stage where boys are beginning to tell them this, or they start having boyfriends, a lot of girls, well, in my time that I know, lost their virginity or engage in sexual activities because their boyfriends will leave them, and because their boyfriends will say, if you love me, you will let me have sex with you. A girl with a healthy self-esteem that gets love from a male role model from home will not fall into that trap, because they know that is not how to express love. And that is why how you oh goodness, how you sex proof your house matters. Okay? And teach the boys confidence and self-control. Confidence and self-control. Many boys lack self-confidence, and then they use the lack of self-control to try to prove that they have the confidence that they do not have. A boy that has good no that has confidence with self-control is going to be more successful when it comes to sexuality. you know we need boys, we need to raise men that have self-control. That cannot be overemphasized. You know what I mean, right? So you need to teach them self-control, actively teach them. And how do you do that? Daddies daddies have conversations with your boys, have relationship with them. Yes, have relationship with them. Parenting is not just with mothers. Yes, we are the ones that are worried about this. I'm sure if you check all the people that are here is full of women. Women, get your husbands involved. They have important role to play in sex education. Okay, they have a strong role to play. Now, something else that is very important is introduce sex education age appropriately to your child first. There is something called the law of first mention. Take advantage of that. Have you experienced, if you have young children, or even your children are now older, but when they were younger, when you correct them and say, oh, that thing is spelled like this or is called like this, they say, no, that's not how Mr. This said, or that's not how Miss something, their teacher or whatever, teach them. I am sure all of us have experienced that. That is what is called the law of first mention. So if you really want your child to be successful sexually, you have to be the first person to introduce them to everything that you want them to avoid. Right? Everything you want them to avoid. So you want to start early, please. Open and honest conversation when your child is young can make later conversations easier. When they are older, when they are teenagers, when they are 10, and teenagers and young adults. If you start early to be doing open and honest conversations with them, and they trust you to come to you, conversations at that time will be very easier, very smooth. You'll be like, oh my goodness, I got it right. And you'll be proud of yourself. Okay. Early message. Your child can come to you for open and honest, reliable information that they shouldn't feel scared and embarrassed to ask about sex and sexuality. Okay. They shouldn't feel scared or even ashamed, or feel some type of uncomfortable to come to you. Why? Of course, I know that a lot of us, me included, and I know people who parented in my generation and older, it is almost a taboo to talk about sex in the house. How can you tell your mother how you're feeling? I mean, how do you even open your mouth to tell your dad or your mom that you're crushing on somebody? You chop winch, you know? But again, like I have said from the beginning, the times have changed. You want to be the one to tell your child by yourself. Okay? You want to be the one to teach your child first. There is something called the law of first mention. They believe, children, especially young children, believe the first person that tell them, wherever that first idea comes, they believe it more than the next one to come. It is going to take a lot of more work, and it's going to take a lot more hard work to change the first perspective they have. So you want to take advantage of that. You want to take advantage of that. I was talking with some people in some other group, and I say, okay, somebody presented a sex education book and say, oh no, children should not be seeing this. I say, wait, why should children not see this? Read this. Read it first. If you read it and you see that these are the things your child should know, give them to read. And then you come and converse, have conversation, do book review over that. So what do you think about it? What do you think erection is? What do you think erection is? I'm already having that conversation with a 5-year-old boy. What do you think erection is? Because it just came to me and say, "Oh, my mommy, my penis is doing like this." I said, "That is called erection. It happens to boys a lot. Okay, it happens to boys a lot. It is called an erection. Let him know and what to do with it. You have to tell them specifically. Okay." And you should know that sex education is not sex conversation is not a one-off conversation. It is ongoing. It is ongoing. You do not have to get it right this time. And if your child is grown and come to you, maybe say 9, 10, or whatever, come to you for ask you a question about sexuality, and you don't know exactly how to answer that age appropriately, you fear that you would, overshare with them, tell them, oh, I'm going to have to think about that. It is okay. You don't know it all. You do not have to give them answer immediately. Okay, you do not have to lie to them. Just tell them, I'm not sure how to answer you with that. What do you think? Find out what they already know. And then you can build on that. You know? And then you would have time to think about it and say, how am I going to put this? If you think about it, the age appropriate way, and then you come say, my darling, you asked me this yesterday or a few hours ago. I have thought about it and I have an answer for you. And then you give them the answer. It is not a one-off conversation that you have to tell them everything. I'm not going to bring all I know about sexuality to my 5-year-old. No. Right? But I'll teach him what is appropriate. And we're going to learn that as this class goes on. Right? So now, displacing myths about sex conversation. We have come to that. Everyday work. Yes, it's everyday work. It is. It is not a one-time thing that you think, oh, I have to layer everything on. No, you continue to put it on gradually. It starts from, like I said, from the day you gave birth. Right? You have to be really intentional. Okay. Some myths and facts about sex and sexuality education. Excuse me. In order to sex educate your child effectively, you need to dispel this myth around sex and sexuality and replace them with facts. Okay? Some myths are that to connect with your child, you need to act like them. You need to act like a child. Be your child's friend. No, no, no. When it comes to sexual education, your child actually wants to know that the adults. You know more than them. You are you have the authority. Okay, you are the authority, and you are going to tell them facts, not be gullible like they are. They need to know that somebody is in charge. Okay, you do not have to act like your children. You're not their friend. You have to be the parent, maintain authority. Your child needs that so that they can trust you. Yes, I know a lot of parents in this age and time will say, "Oh, you have to be your child's friend so that they can come to you and tell you this." No, that's not what they need. That's not about that. You have to maintain the authority. Your child needs to know that you are in charge. You're the parent. Maintain your authority. They need that so they can be confident in you. They can know that, oh no, I got no problem. My mother got me. My dad got me. Yes. Right? Using sex education as a show off, say, okay, you're having sex education talk with your child, and your child tell you something, and then you meet with your friends, or you're talking on the phone and you're already telling your friends what your child told you and what you tell them. If your child knows you did that, they're not going to be happy about that. They're going to lose trust in you. Understand that sex education is a private matter. Okay? Any your child trust and respect is really important. Don't violate their privacy. Don't. Don't violate their privacy. They need to know that they can completely trust you, that what they want to be private is actually private. If you need to, talk with people, maybe educate people like I'm doing, yes, you could do that without exactly shaming or humiliating your child. Yes. Being in charge, oh, of course, yes, you have to continue to be in charge. They actually need it. Okay, another myth is that you think that you have to fight peer pressure. Ah, need to fight peer pressure. That is how to do sex education. So that she will not do that, he will not do this. Peer pressure is what you need to fight. No, no. You actually need to manage peer pressure instead of fighting it. Okay? And again, my guide on how to be your child's greatest influencer can help you with this part. You're not fighting peer pressure. You manage it. Okay, you manage it, and there is a way to do that. When you are you're the greatest influencer in your child's life, you're not worried about other people's influence. You'll be able to diminish it drastically, right? Raising kids the way you were raised. Okay, so another misconception is, oh, this is how we were raised. Oh, we'll just not let our children go out. We will just not, they must come home at this time. That's how we were parented, right? Shielding us from all of that. Time have changed. You're not going to do that with your children. No. No. Because think about it. That's just increases their curiosity. In this age, in our time, you walked. In our time, you walked. Not letting you mingle so much, not letting you do this, not letting you go out. There is a school party you're not attending. If you do that now, your children are going to they're going to detest you. They're going to, I don't want to use the word hate. I'm looking for another English word. Can somebody help me? Okay? They're not going to like you, and you're already failing in being your child's greatest influencer. You're already failing in being your child's most important person if you get them to dislike you, right? So you want to manage the situation so that you and them are confident that no, lose confidence in you. Yes, that's true. Thank you. Okay. So no, you cannot do that anymore. It doesn't work like that anymore. They have access to several information than we had back then. So no, raising your kids the way you were raised is another misconception that you have to displace, right? The world is evolving and we have to evolve with it. Okay. Now, teaching children that sex is a sin is one way we were taught sex education, even though our parents didn't know what they were doing. It might have worked then, but it doesn't work anymore. Thank you. They will also lose their self confidence when you use that pattern. Yes. Okay. So, sex is not a sin. A lot of us, the way we were parented, the way we were taught about this sex, even though they were not exactly teaching us, they were just saying that word, right? It makes nowadays, I mean, I was on live, a lot of people were talking about this, and I know it is true for many people that, now even as married women, especially for girls, not for boys, okay, the sex education didn't happen in those times for boys. For the girls, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. Sex is a sin. Now you are married, and all of a sudden, everybody wants you to be sexual. Now you are married, everybody wants you to be like this and like that, right? How? They want you to be able to, initiate sex, be sexy and all of that. How? When you were taught sex is a sin, you know? So a lot of us these days still do not think that, maybe not us because we have learned now, but our parents, for instance, and a lot of us too. Yes, I heard people talk about it. Will say something like, yeah, beliefs in things like sex is not, women should not ask for sex. Some ideologies that demands that women that are sexual, wayward women and stuff like that. Okay? So, no, sex is not a sin. Teach your children that it is a beautiful thing. Okay? If you say sex is bad, sex is this, is painful, is sin, is that, is this, and then they go out and then they learn that it is nice. They learn that it is sweet. You have told them it is bad, it is painful, it is a sin. And they want to experiment to know who is right and who is wrong. That is why you need to tell your children facts, not myths. Okay? They want to experiment to find out. And then if they tried it and then, ooh, mommy was wrong, you have again lost them. But you need to tell them, oh yeah, that is when age appropriately. We're going to get to the how to do the age thing, right? You need to teach your children that sex is nice, is sweet, is good, and God designed it for married couples. If you do it age appropriately and the right way, you would enjoy it and reap the benefit of it. If you do it the wrong way, that makes it, that is when it becomes wrong. And then you have consequences for that. So you tell them, teach them what those consequences are in fact, not conjoining things. So, in fact, and let them know that it is not only because you're children that you cannot participate in it. That is also part of it too. It is age appropriate. At this age, you should not participate in it. Just like many other things that are not sexual too. A child cannot drive because it is believed that they are not developed enough to be able to handle such a responsibility. So use other things outside sexuality to give your child the sense of it is not the right time, the sense of timing, so that they are not saying, people will say, if you teach child about sex and stuff, their curiosity will get ahead of them. They want to know what it is. No, if you teach it the right way, they're not going to do that. You're going to use other things. Like you will not. My child that is 5 year old, right? And that is why strategy and intentionality is important. Ordinary chewing gum, I'm already using it to teach him because I am building up for that time when I'll be able to tell him, okay, you know what, this thing is not wrong, but it is not age appropriate to do it at this time. You know what I mean? So my children know that, well, chewing gum is not bad. It is what all adults can do it, or grown-up kids can do it. If you grow to this age, you can be able to do that. Chewing gum. You get the point. So even with some house chores, say I want to dust webs on this thing. So my child likes to do house chores with me and all of that. Okay, no, it is not age appropriate for you to do this now. When it's age appropriate, I'll let you do it. Okay, so let them know that there are things. It is not because, oh, this thing is so good that my mommy doesn't want me to do it, or my daddy doesn't. No, it's just not age appropriate. Start early. Start early. Let them know that there are many things that is actually great or not bad, but children should not engage in them. And you can teach that, you can make that sexual conversation that will happen later easier by starting it now with little small things. A child cannot walk on the street by themselves because it is just not age appropriate. Not that they will not get to do it, but it is not age appropriate. My child was telling me, oh no, mommy, I'm a big boy. I can walk. The school is not far from the house. You go up the mountain. It is on the street. You have to walk on the major street, right? Then it is not age appropriate. Say, okay, so at what age would I be able to go myself? Because I feel that I can go by myself, but you said it's not age appropriate because you think I will go with strangers. I said, well, I trust that you're smart enough not to go with strangers, but that's not why. Oh, you think that I will not be careful with the cars might hit me? So, well, that is a likelihood, but I also trust that you're smart enough to avoid where the cars are. You will walk on the walkway only. So that is not it. So why can I not walk alone to school myself?